Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's expert webinar on securing Spring Boot with Spring Security. I'm Satyakshi from Spring People. We are India's largest enterprise training provider. I will be your moderator for today's session. So, in today's webinar, we have our expert Shweta. She has a decade plus of IT experience across various roles such as project lead, corporate trainer. She is an expert on Java, J2EE, web services, Docker, Spring Boot, SharePoint, SQL, Oracle 11g, Big Data, Hadoop, to name a few, and has trained both Indian and foreign candidates across MNCs such as Capgemini, Wipro, Infosys, IBM, etc. In today's webinar, Shweta will take you through the various aspects of Spring Boot security, including authentication main points and quickly setting up user registration and login system. She will also throw light on advanced Spring security features, single sign-on and social login. If you have any questions during the session, please type it in the chat box and they will be addressed by our experts after the presentation is over. Without further ado, let's start today's session. Over to you, Shweta.
Thank you, Satyakshi. Hi, everyone. So today we are here to discuss about the Spring Security. So it's a powerful and highly customizable authentication and access control framework. Before going into the Spring Framework or Spring Security, so when you develop any application, so you have to provide a multiple layers of a security, or it may be one layer of a security, or for multiple applications you have to set up only one security. So there are different aspects of security taken care, like to just give a startup with that. So like in the movie, like when the hero is there, how many troubles he is going to take it, and then he can reach the heroine, like in the old movies. So that is the way, like when the client is sending some request, so to reach to the application, or when it is reached to the application server, whatever the different type of securities we can customize it to reach to the uh, address which is accessing. So those are all the things which we are going to discuss it today. So today's agenda is, first, we will discuss what is the authentication pain points in Java. Like whenever we are taking care of authentication with respect to our Java coding or in any other languages, how we are going to do or what is the pain points, and then what Spring Security is doing about, and how the registration and login system will be taken care with the Spring Security, and then what are all the advanced Spring Security concepts which we'll be dealing with, and then how the single sign-on will be working, and then how the social login will be taken care. And still some more details we are going to discuss it in the today's session. So let's not wait for the anything else. We'll start with the authentication pain points in Java. Whenever we are working with authentication, so when you heard this terminology, we'll have two things in our mind. One is authentication and one is authorization. Like how to secure my application with the different roles or different permissions, where I need to talk about the authentication as the first one. That is is Ashish is the authenticated user to access my system, and what is the permissions he is having? Or is Satya have the permissions? Satya is able to log into my system, but what is the rules she's allotted for, or what what all the permissions is given for that? So the permission settings and all will discuss it as a authorization or the authorities. And the first authentication is how we are logging into your system, or when you go with the Java programming, so that is without any framework, you have to write large pile of a code. So you have to write the how to configure that. Where if it is not related with your business logic, so why we should take a headache to write it, or why I should write a lot of code to take in care? It is not related with your business logic. And if you write with a Java, so that is this security part you must maintain, or you must maintain the code. And where you should not forget the encrypt and decrypt the passwords, so not to steal easily. So there you have a different encryptions and decryptions logic to be handled. And then we have to add the tokens. So that is, we have to set the permissions, how much time it should be allowed, or how you have to customize your CRSF tokens. All these things which you have to configure manually with respect to authentication in Java. So all this, if you get it as some kind of framework or some library, so then it is easy for us to write. So that is basically, framework will give the of advantage to the developers to write a less code. So how Spring Security will help us to address this or to work with this, or why Spring Security is. The Spring Security taken care of lot of jobs. Here I mentioned some, which is one is login and logout, and where it allow or block access to URLs to a logged in users. Basically, with respect to our Spring Security, so that is, we deal about authentication, authorization, and the principle, and we'll discuss about, so what is the authorities and what is the roles. So all these five main jobs will be done by the Spring Security. The authentication is the authenticated user. That is, are you the user of authentication? So it may be any type of user. Your authentication can be provided in a simple way, like entering a username and password, or you like nowadays when you want to log into your Gmail, you no need to remember the password. So that is, you can tap on your mobile. It is process based authentication. So the same way, maybe you may have some third party, or you have to allow both, which is like you want to log into your system through username and password, and you have to allow with respect to any external devices, which is multi-factor authentication, we'll call it. So we'll taken care of number of authentication steps. So that is, either we can go with single authentication with username and password, or we can go with MFU, that is multi-factor authentication. And then we have allow block access to URL to logged in users. You are developing a role-based system, or I have a different REST endpoints, where which REST endpoint should be allowed for which kind of a user. We can configure the rules and to be used with that. So that is with the certain rules. Allow or block access to URLs to logged in user with certain rules. That is, only for some roles you want to allow. It is the second point which I mentioned, is allow a block access to URL to a logged in users. That is, for a specific user, I want to give some functionality or to allow and block the access. Or I can go with the based on the rules, like it may be HR role should view this and admin role should go on this. So like what type of a role should be allowed with what functionalities, that we can configure with respect to a certain roles. That is what why Spring Security is. So Spring Security is a framework that focuses on providing both authentication and authorization to your application. So real power of a Spring Security is found in how it can be extended to meet the customer requirement, which is comprehensive and extensible support for both authentication and authorization. Then protection against attacks like session fixation, or clickjacking, or cross-site request forgery. All this, like protection against the attacks, like it may be of session fixations, or clickjacking, or cross-site request forgery. So all this protection against attacks also will be taken care. We can integrate it with Servlet API, and we can integrate it optional with Spring Web MVC. So these are all some of the uh, things or the features which is given by the Spring Security. So to work with the Spring Security, you have a lot of libraries, that is a lot of versions of a Spring Security, and the current version is 5.4.1. So in the either in the Spring or in the Spring Boot, if you're going with alone Spring, we have a Spring Security dependency that should be added. If you are performing job with your Spring Boot, so where in the Spring Boot we can configure with Spring Boot Security Starter. So the Spring Boot, we can certainly, or we can call it a Spring framework minus a configuration. Very minimal configuration will be there in the Spring Boot. If I do the same code or the security code or any other coding with respect to a Spring framework, I have to do a lot of configuration. But when I come with a Spring Boot, the configurations are reduced. The same way here in the Spring Security also. So where we have a current version is 5.4.1 version for the Spring Security to taken care. So that is about the why Spring Security. Next is what Spring Security is. So Spring Security will provide username and password authentication. That's the first type of authentication. Or we can go with single sign-on or with Okta, which is a library, or we can go with Keycloak, or we can go with LDAP. So there are various third-party libraries are available to work with our Spring Security. So we can go with Okta as a one library and Keycloak as a one library. Authentication 2 or OAuth2 is another. And the OAuth2 again we have a OpenEM or we have OpenID. So there are a lot of libraries or the client and the server tools are available where we can use it for the Spring Security. Or we can take in care app level authorization. So like as the era of or the trend of microservice architecture, so for each application, you can provide the authorization, which is app level authorization can be taken care. So an intra-application authorization, that is as one application is sending a request to another, like one service is sending the request to other service. So if A service is taken care of already security, so then what request to be taken care by the B service, that can be customized by using intra-app authorization. Intra-app authorization will be taken care. Then using tokens or JWT, like still when you go with the passwords, you the password can steal. So I want to allow with some token kind of a things where the popular token which is JWT, which is JSON Web Tokens. So by using this token, we can control or we can taken care of what type of accessibility to be provided, and we can configure a different type of tokens here, either bearer token or refresh token or access token. Well, these tokens can be configured for the Spring Security. Or for each method, you can provide the security by using the code of a Spring Boot or Spring Security code, which is method level. So this or the different ways you can configure the Spring Security with simple username and password authentication, or you can configure username password with your database, the JDBC authentication, or with third-party libraries or single sign-on or with Okta or LDAP, or for each service that is app level authorization can be taken care, or intra-application authorization, or with JWT token or with method level. Like I have a two applications, so where my front end is a Angular and my backend is a Spring Boot, and my front end is sending some request to my backend, which is configured with the security of JWT. So where in that, so it is generating one token, so that token should be again should send back to your request and should be authenticated. Is the token is accessible, or based on this token, as the user or user will be able to access the application or not. So that tokens can be configured, or for individual methods you can configure the different security. So that is about what Spring Security is. So then let us dive into our coding and we'll see how the coding will be taken care. I have some simple REST application which is here, which is a simple application which have two controllers. One is admin controller, which is adding the employee, and another controller is an employee controller, which is retrieving the employees and retrieving employee based on the ID. So I have, according to this employee, I have a Pojo, and as a Spring Boot application, it's have a simple repository which extends a CRUD repository. And then I have services which can be taken care of some business logic here, and it is giving to a controller, so which is employee controller. So I have all the dependencies are configured here in the pom.xml. So let me just comment the Spring Security. That is, I'm not taking care of the dependency which is called Spring Security. And it is interacted with some database, and the port number which I have configured is 8097. Let me just launch this application. So I'm trying to access this employee controller, which is API employees slash EMPS. So that as my request, the port number is of 8097. So I have to send it to this now. So let me go to the REST client, which is a Postman. I'm using a REST client, which is a Postman. So then I'm just sharing here, sending a request, which is 8097 API of employees EMPS. So I'm able to retrieve the employees which are available. So I have some 2 employees in my database. The 2 employees also displaying here. So just the basic security if I want to provide it. Let me just stop my application. I am adding one dependency called Spring Security, which is Spring Boot Starter Security. I'm adding one Spring Boot Starter. So whenever we add this dependency, which is called Spring Boot Starter Security, so it is taking the simple security now here. So let me just restart my application. You can see previously it was run properly. Now also it's running, but it is giving some generated security password. It is generated some security password. And you can just read the console. So that is the data sources started, and then it is giving adding welcome pages, and then using dialect, and will secure any request, and the port number is 8097. And with this it is giving, or it is generated some security password. Let me just go back to my Postman and send the same request, which is of 8097 API employees of AMPS of EMPS. See now, in the previous run, we are able to retrieve our employee, but now we are not able to retrieve our employees. Like, oh, no authentication. Yeah. It is saying 401, which is unauthorized, which is you're not authorized user to access this. So how can I access it? So I just added one dependency called Spring Boot Starter. The Spring Boot Starter have the capability to generate a security password. So the minimal security which is added here. Let me just copy the password, and the default user for a Spring is user itself. So I will, or if I access the same API in any browser, let me just check to any browser also. Localhost 8097. After that, I have API employees of EMPS. See, it is redirecting to a login page. Did we design this login page? Did we design any login page? If you see our code, so we don't have any pages, and like if you have only index.html, which have some welcome page, that is which have some hello spring security, nothing else. So there is no other page, or we have not created any login page. Let me just remove this. I'm deleting this index.html also. Let I've not added the dev tool, so I'm just restarting. I don't have any HTML pages or any pages, so it's a REST API which I have created. When I'm trying to access it, you can see it is redirect to a login page. If I access it any link in my page, it is asking for a login. So I'm entering login, which is called user, and what is the password I want to take in here. So this is the password which is available here, and I'm entering the password, and then I'm signing in. So after signing in, it is given here 404. So because we don't have anything for localhost for 8097, I have to send a request called API employees EMPs. So now you are able to see I'm getting the data as a REST. So I'm getting the data as a JSON. I have a two employees. I'm able to get it here. So first time when I sent a request, so the basic security is configured. So with the help of what is the security password is generated, only with the help of this we are able to access it. That is the first one. But we can't give the same password for everyone, like, or I want to configure my username and password. Where can I configure? You can configure it in a multiple ways. In the Spring Boot, so in the application.properties, we'll take all properties where we can configure it here spring.security dot spring.security dot user dot name. So I want to configure my name to access it, which is I'm giving Shweta. Then again I want to configure the password, so which is security dot user dot password. I'm giving just 12345 6. I'm just saving it. So I configured the two properties called Spring Security Username and Spring Security Password. After this, I'm just restarting my application. So just observe the console now, what is going to happen. See, it is our application has got started. Our application has started, you can see. So a Web Async Manager integration filter, the security is added, and you can see the application is started. But you can see it's not generated any password for you. It's not generated any password for you. Why it's not generated? Because we have configured what is the username and password we have to provide for this. And now let us come to this and load it. See, again it is coming to login page, because how many number of times, like if you start your application, so it will be asking. So now I want to enter my username and password 123456. So now we are able to access our app employees of EMPs. So that is we are able to access what is the user's details which we required. So it's a one level of a security which we got it. So where you want to configure your own username and password, like I don't want this page. I don't want this login page which was coming. So I want to customize that, where you can customize it. So we can configure our code with the customization of a security, which is web security configurer adapter is a class which we can configure. To provide the configuration, we will be creating here our own class in the config page. It is taking the security configuration, so security config. And I'm just clicking on finish. This is a one new class which got prepared. So I have to use it this as a configuration, so that I will use a annotation which is called configuration. we will be using this as a configuration. And we have to enable our security. So that is, we are writing here enable web security. We are enabling web security. To provide the features of a security, we have a predefined class called security adapter, so that we have to extend it. So as Java says, if you want to take any nature, you have to extends or implement. So which is extends web security configurer adapter. So in this web security configurer adapter, if you go for some methods here, there are different methods are available with the web security configurer adapter. If you want to configure the username and password in this configuration, we will use authentication manager, and some bean should be configured authentication manager bean, and that to configure to a user authentication manager builder, and you want to configure some HTTP security. So that is, you don't want that login page, you want to customize your login page, or you want to allow roles and what endpoints you want to allow it. All these things can be taken care with configure, which is of HTTP security. So I'm just selecting here configure HTTP security. So same way, other methods are available to configure are, so like if you want to integrate it with a JDBC, like you require some user detail service. For this user detail service, we will be go with like for JDBC authentication or some JPA authentication or Hibernate authentication. For this thing, you will use a user detail service or user detail service bean, which you will be using. So for this, we are using here configure HTTP security. So we have overridden that method, which is protected void configure HTTP security, so that we have written. And here we can write it HTTP, which is HTTP security, and then dot. So what you want to authorize it. So you need a request for authorization. So we will write it authorize a request. So all the requests should be authorized. So authorize the request. So with what request? That is, any request should be authorized. So I'm allowing for any request. Each request should be authenticated. That is, you can specify the URL which authenticated user should be allowed and what you want to provide it. So I'm using and the HTTP basic, I want to configure it. So HTTP, I'm configuring the basic authentication. So this is what the configure method which I have overridden. So HTTP, which is of authorized request for any request, and it should be authenticated with the HTTP basic. So I just added some configuration here. After this configuration, how we are going to handle this? Let me run it again. So I'm just starting again. So after adding this security configuration, let me just run. See now, I'm not getting the CSRF token or the CSRF login page. The Spring login page, the default login page is not coming. So it is not giving any login page. So I'm customizing, like I have given it here my configure HTTP security. So here I have to enter the username and password. I've configured username Shweta and password is 123456. Like this, we configured here our application. So first, when the default Spring Security web page is coming, but we customized it to our own security page. That is, we don't want the basic security, so that we have configured it here. The same way, if you want to configure for some particular users only, it should be asking for a request. So you can configure it here, dot and matches. And matches is a method which takes what type of, that is what instances do not care about the HTTP method to authorize the URL. Like I want to authorize the URL if anything is coming from API/employees, or I'll take it API/admin/star. If anything is coming with and matches API admin and star, so that request should be authenticated, then others should be permitted. So that is specify that URLs are allowed by anyone. So that is I've given the permit all. So what request you want to permit it, for other request you want to take in care of any HTTP security. So you can customize here this request with any of the users. So you can customize with any of the things, like either you can configure with and matches. Like I just showed how will you be writing. So we'll write a and matches starting with anything. So which should be permitted all. Then I will write it here and matches. Sorry, permit all. Then again and matches. So that is I will take one page as a welcome. Anyway, now I don't have any welcome request and all. So I'm showing how can we customize our Spring security here. So that is I have given here the welcome. And for the welcome, what type of roles it should be allowed, we can authorize the role, which is has any role. What is the has any role? So that is what roles you have it. So that is I have a user, and then you can configure admin, and you can configure HR by specifying a commas. You can mention whatever the rules you want to allow it. So then same way if you want to give in for some other, so that is for a different request you want to configure the different rule. So that is again we'll take ant matchers and we configure it here API slash employees slash star. So then again we configure for any role, or you can take what is the authority or list of authorities, you can be configured it here. So I've taken here has any role. So it can be accessed by admin or only user. So it should be accessed only by admin. I'm giving here admin. Like this, all these conditions you can configure it for any type of a request. So with the authorized request, you can configure what ant matches or what permit all and all can be configured. And if you want some login should be taken care, or your form, you are created your own form login and that you want to customize it, so that we can use it here after authenticated. And instead of HTTP basic, what we can do it here, we can write it which is the login which you wanted. So that is you want the form login, you take a form login. After the form login, so that is what is the login page you want to customize it. So login page which is slash login, and then which we want to do the permitting all. So that is we write here permit all. And after that, if you want to configure the and logout also, we can configure and dot logout, and then after the logout, so again permit all. Like this, you can configure your HTTP security. And you should not get the form login, that is the Spring security login page. So you can write it http dot csrf dot disable. So if you disable whatever the, so that is it disable the, by removing it after doing a fresh version of a configuration can be applied. So that is whatever the default login page is coming, it will be disabled, and it will be taken care of what is the login request which you want to access it. So like this, you can customize your security can be provided. You can provide your security. So to customize it here, how you want to configure your login and logout. So that's way the basic security will be taken care. So the same way, I don't want to write my security, or I want to configure with the database security. Yes, we can configure it. So we can configure the database configuration here. So that is, we will be having the authentication manager builder, authentication manager builder. So in the authentication manager builder, we can configure so data source authentication manager builder or in memory authentication. So that is you can configure in memory authentication. or we can configure JDBC authentication, or we can configure JPA authentication, like where which authentication you want to take in care. All this authentication can be configured with the authentication manager builder. So like if you just go for the web security configurer adopter methods, like the here you can see authentication manager builder is taken by the configure. If you just override the configure method, so with the configure method you can configure the authentication manager builders. Like here you can just copy it and put authentication dot. You can see here JPA or JDBC, or you can go with in-memory authentication. So dot, what is the username and what is the password which you want to configure it with a user? What is the user you want to provide it? So that is we can configure here with user, and what is the username here. And then here with what is the password which you want to, or what is the authorities. If you have some role based, so you can configure here when it is going to expire. Account is expired, account is locked, authorities, all these things can be configured with this here. Or with what is the password, and the password which is encryption or decryption, all these codes can be configured with the configure method. So this way we can customize your security configure with the configuration with the enable web security. That's what the Spring Boot Starter security, or we have a simple security type which can be configured. But why I should take in care of any Spring security? So can I use any third party library for security? Yes, I can go with. So that is what our social login. Social login is here. Like I will be working on a Facebook login, so that like we will be using the dependencies to work on the Facebook. Like if you go to some applications, it will say you want to log in with Gmail, or you want to log in with Facebook, or you want to log in with LinkedIn, or you want to log in with which type of account. So that is basically social account here. So where if you go for the pom.xml, you are able to see Spring Security O authentication to client. So OAuth2 client is configured here. And how can I configure my application to either Google or Facebook or the GitHub? So for anything you can be configured. Here I'm just taking one example, which is how can be configured with respect to a Facebook. Like if you go to any websites, like if I just go to, so if I go to some any website, it will ask, do you want to log in with, like if I want to do login, so it can be logged in with any social logged in will be asked. So how I'll be able to allow with the social login. So that's what I want to configure it here. So social login should be configured. So that for that same thing, what we will be doing here, we will be connecting to Facebook. So that is, we have to configure to the social login. So that is, any social login can be taken care. I'm just taking here with respect to a Spring Boot. So Spring Boot with the authentication to client we have taken, and I have to configure in the developers.facebook.com. So that is here. I'll go to developers. If I going with Google, you can use developers.google.com. So I'm taking here developers.facebook.com. You should have a developer Facebook account. And after that, if you go for a my apps, so that is already I have one app. We should not share the uh, app ID and secret should be with anyone. So we can just click on a create app. So you want it for manage business, or we want create an app to custom set permissions in the product. So I'm taking this one, and then we'll just continue. So and we can provide what is the app you want to configure it, and like let me just give it a simple app, and what is the app contact, and any business account, no, not required. I'm just giving a create. Okay, so it will ask, are you the same person? It will be asking for the captcha, so that it will be providing. So that is what type of authentication, what you want to require from the Facebook. I wanted from the Facebook login. So if I just clicked on a setup, and it will give some app ID, it will give some app ID. And if I go to a settings here, there will be a basic settings. It will be having some app ID and the app secret, app ID and the app secret. I'm not displaying my secret. Okay, so that is what the app ID and secret. So how can I customize this to my application? So I just have a application here, which is some simple security configuration, which is we configured whatever I was just explaining. So and matches to anything or WebJar permit all, and any request. Other than this, if any request sent, it should be permitted. And exception handling, which is unauthorized, and OAuth2 login. OAuth2 as a client. So then we have one controller, so which is only user here. And when I just go to my configurations, so application YAML, here you have to configure the client ID and the client secret. So this is my Facebook client ID and client secret. So that is, you have to configure the which Facebook client ID and secret which you want to configure it. After configuring, if I just run my application, and what is the port number I have configured is 8087 8087. I'm just launching. See, it is welcome to Spring Boot application. I have configured here. If you go to a Spring Security, I have configured slash. So slash error webjars. These are all permitted all. It does not require any permissions to be. So that's why this page here, the index.html is, it is not taking any permission and it is displaying. And when you click on continue with the Facebook, see, it will ask from your Facebook account, whatever the Facebook account you are using. So it is my Facebook account, and sample app will receive your name and profile picture and your email address. So this way you are able to authenticate your user with any social logins, with the social logins. So this is a simple example for how the social login will be taken care. Same way, if you want to work with Google, so that is, you can go with console dot developers dot google.com, and can be taken care of what is the where you will be able to taken care of your products or your app ID and secret, or you can go to GitHub or any O authentication client you can be used. Or still you have a other option as well. You can prepare your authentication client and you can prepare your authentication server, and you can be configured. You can go with your own authentication server and your own authentication client, so that we have something called here. I'm just taking open AM. So we can prepare our own authentication as a resource owner, and we have some terminologies in the authentication. So that is, we will be having a resource owner. So that is the owner of the resources. That is, users that have several photos stored in the photo sharing service. He is the user. If my photos, then it is I'm the resource owner. It's a user agent or web browser to communicate with a client. And you will have a client which is third party application that wants to obtain access to the resources. If somebody is requested for you to access your resources, they will be a client. And you will be having the authorization server, the authorization service that authenticates the resource owner, and they will provide the tokens to the client and track their validity. And same way you can configure the resource server. The flow with the authentication, authentication two will be, so from the resource owner, it will send it, the client will send it to a resource owner, and for the authorization request, then the resource owner will give the grant. Then that grant will be sent it from the client to authorization server, and the authorization server will give an access token to the client. From the client, the access token will be sent it to a resource server. Then resource server will give the request to a protected resource. So it is a different layer or with a O authentication protocol flow. So that is, it will give one grant access, then that grant should be provided to authorization server, and authorization server will give the access token, and the access token validity will be only for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or what 1 hour. It is depends on for how much time you have configured it as a developer, and then based on that access token you are able to access the protected resource for that much time. So again, if the client need to do all these three different steps, instead of that we can provide the refresh token. So based on the refresh token, so again the customer can get his own access token, then he can do the protected resource. These two steps can be less. So when he store the refresh token. So this way you will be able to go with the O authentication protocol flow. So where whenever you are going with any of our security applications, so that is, you have to know about the four things. So that is, how we are providing the accessibility, how you are providing the accessibility, and what is the authorities you are providing. So that is, so you will be having the steps, that is authentication, authorization, and then you will have principal object, you will have principal object, and then granted authorities. So then you will be having the authorities will be. So that is, the authentication will be saying about this. So that is, authentication as basically can be handled with knowledge based or process based authentication. Knowledge based is just now we see that is username password, or process possession based is like maybe some OTPs coming or some key cards or badges or access token devices also can be configured it here. So that is a possession based authentication. So, or we can go with multi-factor authentication. Basically, authentication says, who are you? And then you have authorization. Authorization can see, can this user do this? Can user do this? That is the authorization. So that is the point of scale functionality or check items inventory, or whatever the jobs he can do it or they allowed to do this will become a authorization. And principal is who are currently logged in. So that is currently logged in user. Currently logged in user. And how does the authorization happen will be taken care with the authorities and the grant authorities, and then will be having a role. So that is, what are all the jobs you will be providing for the authorities or granted authorities will be what is the authority of the user. So the group of authorities is called the role. Group of authorities will become a role. So these all the concepts we can implement by using the Spring Boot with the Spring Security. So that is what I have taken here with the Spring Security. The simple security config I have taken, where if you go with the role-based application, so that is we can configure the has any role, and then we can go with JDBC authentication or in-memory authentication or JP authentication. All these authentications can be configured at here. So, or we can configure the JWT security also. Like if I go here, So that is in the web security config. So I'm configuring enabling the global method security. So which is we are configuring here with respect to a database. So required a database. So that's why here we are taking the user detail service implementation. In my database, whoever the users are available, they will be able to access your application based on the authorities. The authorities are provided here. That is, the API and auth is matched, then permit all, and API test, which is permit all. But the session creation policy should be stateless and unauthorized handle as a entry point. That is, and for the password encoding, we can configure here the Bcrypt password encoder, which is password encoder. And to generate the JWT, which is JSON Web Token, we can configure our JWT util. So that is what type of algorithm which you are providing, all can be configured with respect to a JWT. So with the JWT, all this configuration which we can take in care. Like if you just go here with jwt.io, so the JWT will be JSON Web Tokens, and this JSON Web Token will be a very secured one. So that is, you can see here, this is the algorithm which is hash 256 is provided here, and the type is JWT, and the payload is this. If I just change my payload, please observe the right hand side, what is the, sorry, left hand side, what the changes will be happen. I put here Shweta, so the purple color got changed here. So that is, the payload is getting changes and the signature will be changing. So if you do any 64 URL encoded with header or your secret got changed, so like instead of that, if I put 26-bit secret, so then this is changing here. So that is, if I put here 2-bit secret, see again you can see this is, so it is a weak secret. So that is 256 we have configured. So the based on the decoding, the first option will be your algorithm and the token type will be given the first encoding. So the second part of the JWT will be the data, and the third part one will be the verify signature. So the JWT codes will be a very secured one, and it is very difficult to hack it or to crack it. So based on all these features, we can configure our Spring security for any different type of services. Maybe for single service or for multiple services also we can be taken care. So that is, we can take it to a security request, and for each request we can configure the filter. So once per request filter, and then we can take an authentication entry point as a auth exception, and username and password authentication token will be, and user details, then that user detail service will be accessed with the authentication manager with the password encoder. So then once the user detail service is taken care of your user, then it will hit the database and check what is your user and the role repository with the database. Then it will give here to a controller, and the controller will check with the filter and will give the response. This is the flow of Spring security will be taken care. So that is about the Spring security which we are taken care. If you have any questions, you can post it in the chat so that I'll answer after Satyakshi talk. Satyakshi, over to you.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you so much. Thank you for your invaluable insights on this technology. I'm sure all professionals here will take away some very key learnings and insights from your experience. If you guys are interested in learning more about Spring technology, do check out our super discounted batches of virtual instructor-led trainings on our website, springpeople.com. These VLT trainings are leveraged online from the comfort of your home and flexible as per your schedule and location. If you do not find any suitable batches, we would be happy to discuss and schedule private batches for you. If you guys want to join any online, offline training, then do try out our online self-paced courses. You can find the training link in the chat box for all the spring training offered by us. For more information, do write to us at training@springpeople.com or call on our number displayed on the current slide. Now, we will open the forum for Shweta to answer questions that we have received during the PPT. Over to you, Shweta.
Thank you, Satyakshi. Yeah. So, what's the difference between roles and permissions? Is a question. So, basically, the rules is set of permissions. That is, you will be providing, like, I have a role called user. So I'll be able to view the items. I can buy the items. The view the items and buy the items are the permissions, and my role is user. Where if you're an admin, you're adding the item or you're buying a ticket or you're editing the details. So the permissions you have it for add and edit, and the role is admin. So that is the answer. And somebody mentioned the question. One second. A quick query on auth with LDAP, or can you please give us a quick overview inside? Okay, sure. So that is whenever you are going with respect to single sign-on or SSO, so that is you can configure any application like where you can be taken care of one application to sign on. So with that, you can be able to access it. So the same way you have another type of security or authentication, which is LDAP authentication, where user authentication is the process of validating a username and password, and the combination with the directory, like it may be with MS Active Directory or some open LDAP tool will be there or LDAP directories. There are some standard technologies for storing a users or some technologies to store it. So where it may be Windows based kind of authentication or some DN authentication. So all this kind of authentication will be taken care with the LDAP authentication with the web app API. So with the LDAP, and someone sent a question, which what is LDAP? Then what is LDAP versus a SAML or O authentication? So that is where if you go with the authentication protocols, you have a different authentication protocols like LDAP or Kerberos or OAuth2 or SAML or Radius. So user authentication as an application is one of the biggest current challenge. That is, LDAP is a lightweight directory access protocol, and it is a fair say that has become a popular program. That is, it is Microsoft built-in Active Directory. Based on your account directory or Active Directory, it will be from which Windows login you are accessing. It sends a message between server and the client application, which include everything from client request to a data formatting. On a functional LDAP, like if you are taking some Microsoft LDAP lookup, it will send a JSON response to some Google app script, and from there it will get it to a Google spreadsheet. Where if you take in Kerberos as a network authentication protocol, the client requests an authentication ticket. It will be with a format of TGT from the key distribution center. And then the KDC will be verifies the credentials and sends back an encrypted TTT and the session key, where then it returns the ticket and the session key to the user. So then you will be having the OAuth2. OAuth2 is a authorization framework which enables with like Facebook, GitHub or DigitalOcean, or you can prepare your own authentication server. It requests for authorization for access service resource from the user. So that is, if user approves, then the application receive an authorization grant, and application request an access token from the authorization server. So that is like here. So we'll be able to taken care from one, which is the application identity will be authenticated. Then we have a SAML, which is Security Assertion Markup Language. It is an XML-based and open standard data format for exchanging authentication and authorization between two parties. Like you have two parties where only between those two it should be exchanged with a XML with XML base, then we will be. So where JumpCloud is one of the best single sign-on providers which supports with a SAML authentication protocol. Where in the SAML, which user access remote application using a link on an intranet are similar in the application loads. Where user either as an existing active browser and then it established by logging into the identity provider. So identity provider builds an authentication response in the form of XML document. Then service provider will be taken care of that and it established the user is provided with the app access. Same way we have another one which is called Radius, where it's taken care of remote authentication dial-in user service. It is based on network protocol that provides a centralized authentication and authorization and accounting. Basically, management of users who connect and uses a network service will be taken care of radius authentication. So these are the different type of authentication we can be. So depends on your requirement, you can choose it, which authentication third party which you want it. And someone sent a question. Okay. Okay. Why has not Facebook asked for credentials? Because I've already logged in. Okay. Permit all chain again. Okay. So the permit all chain, what it was doing is, so that is we can configure and matches of this permit all so that it will be permitted all the request. It will be with before this permit all, we'll write the ant matchers. So what ant matches will be permitted all and then remaining will be uh, for the next ant matches, so for which the authentication is required. So that way the permit all chain will be configured. Yes, I have answered all the questions.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. We shall be sending out the webinar recording to all you participants soon. I request you to kindly provide feedback before signing off, which will help us improve the quality of our future events. Thanks again for joining us today. Signing off on behalf of Team Spring People. Hope to see you again for our next Connect LND webinar. Bye bye.